Blah, all over the place. Is that recording? It is recording now. Hello and welcome back to Automotive Tales, where you'll see I am dressed not for the weather we have today in London, but I am here at the London Concours to, well, it's the first of 3 concourse events I'm going to this year, and I'm going to try out the 3 big ones. So going to Concours at Blenheim, we're here at the London Concours, and we're going to the traditional Concours of Elegance down at Hampton Court Palace. Now, I'm going to start here. Does it get much cooler than a Citroen DS, even if my finger is in the shot? What a thing. Sitting squat at the back, as all good Citroens do, just like the Rolls-Royce that we have. But a very, very cool thing. And look at the cheeky little Lamborghini Isolero parked over here. You don't see them very often, do you? What a glorious colour. It's all about green over cream, I think, this season. So I was about to tell you about this cool Ford Escort RS Cosworth, and it's also number plate, but idiot forgot to turn the microphone on. So fun fact for you, there is an unregistered Ford Escort RS Cosworth living in Loughborough, the university. Ford donated one to the university and it's never been road registered, so effectively has 0 road miles. Can't begin to imagine what that might be worth today. When we're talking about very expensive Fords, I'm going to make you feel dizzy and spin around because, well, not only is there some cool GT40s, but a little bit more at my street. Homologation Group B RS200, anybody? Oof. So this has been brought here by Adrian Flux today. I think they've pulled together most of the fast Fords that are here today. So not your normal sort of concourse things to see a Cosworth, but some very, very nice examples. And I'm going to go quickly have a look at this Capri over here. That would be a 3-litre X-Pack with the V6. Very, very nice indeed. But still missing a few cylinders for me, because over here, this is a bit of a beast. 1972, you can read it for yourself. Piranha V8. That's the engine this car always should have had. Britain's answer to the muscle car. I think Mrs. Automotive Tales will be quite happy if we brought that home. Very nice. All the way from Belgium as well. What a cool thing. And it's not just any old fast Ford. It's a Shelby. Now, from fast Fords to much more rarefied metal, 5GB is a great number plate, but more importantly, a 300 SL Gullwing. I mean, come on, does it get any cooler than that? I mean, I know there's a Ferrari F50 over here, but a 300 SL Gullwing. Lots of fancy red Ferraris. I will take you to see a really, really special Ferrari in a minute, but it's not parked with this lot, but there is something very special over by the entrance. Oh yes, and the casual F50 I mentioned earlier, as well as some cool little Alpines. Look at the Alpine version of the new Renault 5, which is pretty awesome. And of course the mighty A110. How cool is that? Yes, please. And for good old Wing Commander Greg, who I know has wanted one of these for a long time, look, it even has a bulge in the roof that you might actually fit in it. So at the London Concours event this year, one of the things they're celebrating is the brand AC. Now most people will be familiar with that from the AC Ace that became the AC Cobra, as per, these are actually proper AC. This is a new AC version of the Cobra, and this is a sort of a continuation type. But what most people didn't know is that AC also made some quite interesting other cars as well. So here we are, not at Festival of the Unexceptional, but actually at a concourse event, and there's what I would know as an Invi car, but apparently is an AC. So in and amongst the other ACs as well is this. Now you might be mistaken from this side profile of thinking this is a Ferrari, but it's not. This is actually an AC 428? 428 Fura Spider. What a pretty thing. What a pretty thing. Like the British Ferrari 330. And of course we can't look at the ACs and not look at the daddy, where it all began, the Cobra 289. Well, that's always a good start. So you might be thinking, Just like the Invicar, why is there a Vauxhall parked at the London Concourse? Well, this isn't any old Vauxhall. As you can see by my fingers pointing, there's a lovely little green and yellow badge here. This is, of course, a Lotus Carlton. So twin turbo inline, 3.2 litre, 6, I think. Quite the machine. So this is the kind of start of a slightly different set of vehicles for this concourse called the Youngtimers. So lots of kind of brutish 80s muscle here. So we've got a UR Quattro 5-cylinder turbo over here. Behind that, you can't quite see it in the footage. You can just see him. Here he is, Audi RS2. Quite a thing. We'll have a look at that in a second. And no, that's not an RS version of the A2 people carrier. You can just see the top here of an E30 M3 Cabriolet. That's quite a rare thing. Lovely little Alpina here. A couple of 911 turbos and, of course, big brutish Mercedes and a clown shoe, the Z3 M Coupe. Now, that 911 is not any old 911 because, of course, it is a 911 slant nose, or I think technically a 935. But yeah, no sort of sticking up headlights. We've got pop-up headlights, more like the 944. And this one is a convertible, which is quite the unusual beast and really quite a lovely colour. Not my cup of tea in the convertible form because the top hat looks a little bit uncomfortable, but very, very cool. And look at the great big wing on that. But I can't help be drawn over here. So you know I have an E30, so you know I love a good E30. But an M3 convertible with a hard top on, it's quite an interesting choice. And I'd love to get a little hard top like this for mine. And then it's got, look at the interior with all the extra dials. You probably can't see that very well through the glass, but lots of extra dials in the centre console. Very, very cool. And of course, traditional M3 big wide arches. But the thing I think that steals the show for this Youngtimers is this. The Audi RS2. Those that know their old Audis will recognise this badge a mile off. So it's not an RS version of the A2, the little hatchback or people carrier thing they made in the 90s and 2000s, but it's actually an Audi 80 estate. I think it's an Audi 80 or 90 estate. You better correct me in the comments below, I'm sure. They made something called the S2, which came in the coupe format, which was a turbocharged 5-cylinder. Then they made this in an estate format with Porsche. Now, legend has it, they developed the running gear and the engine and the tune for all of this, and Porsche weren't too happy with the idea of it going in a saloon car because they thought it would be too much of a competition for the 911. So they forced Audi to sell it as an Avant only, so you can only get an RS2 as an estate, and this is, of course, the best colour for the car. Talking of an event of extremes, we showed you the little AC Invicar, and you can probably just see in the corner of the screen there is a Bugatti. But you want to see something really cool? There's a, well, naked Bugatti. You heard me right, that is a stripped back Bugatti Veyron. So they've taken all the panels off and you can see all the gubbings. We've got the ducting for the brake work there, huge carbon ceramic brakes, massive, I mean that's like the size of my keyboard, that's insane. And then the lovely interior, they're very brave because it's actually raining right now. Burmeister stereos all visible, all the nice carbon fibre work, access to the gearbox there. More ECUs, I presume, for the engine. One of its many radiators, 9, I believe, the Veyron. Little fuel tank, I think, there, or oil tank, potentially. Fuel tank, yep. And then more massive rotors. I mean, just what a thing. Completely stripped into its, well, its bare shell. So this is a very interesting car that most people might not pick up on as being quite special. This is a Lister Jaguar. This is believed to be the car that saved the company. The person that ordered this car decided to buy the company, and that's why it exists today. And they went with the Lister Storm Racing to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. There are a few content creators around, in fact you can probably see one in shot here, who've done some great videos with this car, so I'm not going to try and replicate any of their good stuff, but just quite nice to see it in the flesh. What a cool thing. Very gangster. So I promised you a very special Ferrari, and this is it, the 288 GTO. What a thing. Was it 277 of these, I think, made versus just over 1,100 Ferrari F40s. This really is the collector's Ferrari. And at first glance you might think, oh, it's a 308. And then you see the little grills on the back, these little sort of like shark gills. And then you see the engine hanging out the bottom there. That's when you know that is the dog's danglies. But you'll probably notice in the edge of shot, there are a couple of other quite interesting cars. Bugatti EB110. This will be chassis number 1 delivered to the Sultan of Brunei. So, you know, the very first of the modern Bugattis. And, of course, a McLaren F1. does it really get much cooler than that? It's literally my pin-up hero right there. There's a couple of other cool things as well. I can't stop looking at this. You might recognise this Porsche 930 Turbo. This belongs to Harry Metcalf of Evo magazine fame, and obviously Harry's Garage and Harry's Farm, which is a great channel if you haven't seen it. And then another one of my pin-up heroes, who's going to scooch around here. Jaguar XJ220. Let's go have a look at that. Is this the coolest parts bin special car in the world? Technically, I guess you can argue it's got the engine from a Rover Metro, albeit a Metro 6R4. Big turbocharged V6. It's got the rear lights from a Rover, but who cares? Look at it. It's just the most elegant shaped thing ever, and it screams 90s. Very, very cool. Also, the monoblock wheels are just iconic. Found another amazing little obscure car. Alfa Giulia SS. This cute little thing. Right, I'm going to do a little walk around in a second, but I just love an obscure Alfa Romeo. A6 after a long day out in London. So I drove over to Lincolnshire, got the train down from Grantham into King's Cross, which is a lovely journey, by the way. Travelling first class doesn't actually cost that much and is really nice, free food and drink. I myself a bacon cob on the way down, and I had myself a little curry on the way back on the train, free of charge, which is really rather nice, and a nice start and finish to really quite a nice day. So I hope you enjoyed this video about the London Concours. What was your favourite car from the Concours that I featured? I'll tell you mine, and we're really boring. Literally the first car I saw has to be the star of the show. It's got to be the McLaren F1 because it's just such a special car. Beyond that, probably the 300 SL, a gullwing. I mean, it's a gullwing. That says it all. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little meander round, and keep a track on the channel because we are also going to go to the other two concourses I mentioned earlier and do a bit of a compare and contrast. We've enjoyed going to the Concours of Elegance for a number of years, and now I want to see what all the others are like and see whether actually the Concours of Elegance at Hampton Court Palace is the top of the pile, or actually if maybe Blenheim or the London Concours is even better. Right, see you next time on Automotive Tales. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Tavarish, I finally found you a Veyron. Look, it's wet and it's missing parts. It's like the perfect Bugatti for you.